There's a house in the outskirts of town where no one dares to go. It's not marked on any map, and even the bravest souls refuse to speak of it. This is the story of that house, a place where reality bends and nightmares are born. It all started with a simple dare. 4 friends, Jake, Emily, Mike, and Sarah, had heard whispers of the old, abandoned house deep in the woods. It was the stuff of urban legends, the kind of place that kids dared each other to visit but no one ever actually did. But that night, fueled by the recklessness of youth and a few too many drinks, they decided to find it. "Come on, it's just an old house. What's the worst that could happen?" Jake scoffed, leading the way as the others followed, their flashlights slicing through the dense, dark forest. After what felt like hours, they finally found it, a towering, decrepit mansion, its windows like black holes in the moonlight. The house seemed to breathe, exhaling cold air that made the hairs on their necks stand up. As they stepped inside, the air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay. The floorboards creaked beneath their feet, as if the house was aware of their presence. Emily, the most superstitious of the group, hesitated. "Maybe we should just go back," she whispered, her voice trembling. But the others laughed it off, mocking her fear. They ventured deeper into the house, exploring room after room, each more disturbing than the last. There were rooms with furniture covered in white sheets, a dining room table set for a feast long forgotten, and portraits on the walls whose eyes seemed to follow them. It wasn't long before strange things started happening. The doors slammed shut on their own, footsteps echoed in the hallways, and whispers floated through the air, but there was no one else there. Sarah swore she saw a shadow dart past the corner of her eye, but when she turned, nothing was there. In the basement, they found an old, rotting staircase leading down into darkness. Jake, ever the fearless leader, insisted they go down. "There's probably something cool down there," he said, already halfway down the stairs. But as soon as they reached the bottom, they regretted it. The basement was a labyrinth of tunnels, each one more claustrophobic than the last. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and the air was thick with a sense of impending doom. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in. They fumbled for their phones, but none of them had service. And then they heard it, a low, guttural growl coming from the depths of the tunnel. They ran, stumbling through the dark, desperate to find the stairs. But the house seemed to shift and change around them, the tunnels twisting and turning, leading them deeper into its belly. The growling grew louder, closer, and they could feel something chasing them, something that wasn't human. Finally, they found the stairs, but as they scrambled up, Mike was pulled back by something unseen. His screams echoed through the house as the others fled, slamming the basement door behind them. They made it back to the front door, but it wouldn't budge. The house was alive, trapping them inside. Emily screamed, pounding on the door as the growling grew louder, now right behind them. In a last, desperate attempt, Jake grabbed an old candlestick and smashed a window. They crawled out, cutting themselves on the shattered glass, and ran into the night, never looking back. They never spoke of that night again. Mike was never found, his disappearance a mystery that haunted the small town. The remaining 3 friends moved away, each plagued by nightmares of the house that shouldn't exist. But the house still stands, waiting for its next visitors, its next victims. And every so often, late at night, you can hear it, the low, guttural growl echoing through the woods as the house breathes and waits. If you ever find yourself near the edge of town and you hear whispers of an old, abandoned house deep in the woods, turn back, because once you enter, you may never leave.